Good morning and welcome to Judging by the Cover. I'm coming to you solo today looking at Eastward, presented by Chucklefish. Now, after the Nintendo Direct, I've been getting a little bit of a fixation on some of the games on there, particularly Witchbrook. I'm really excited for as what looks like another very enticing cozy game. So I'm like, okay, what else is the creator behind on that one? What else is that Chucklefish name attached to? So I was looking through there and found quite an array, like quite a variety of games, not only cozy things, but they seem to have a very pixel driven aesthetic that is nice, cozy, and all that. So I decided that we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at Eastward today. Now, there are some slight differences between the Switch eShop page and the Steam page. The Steam page does give a couple of extra little trailers in there to make things a little more. It does a little more to illustrate what's going on, but we're going to go ahead and jump in and take a look here. We escape the tyrannical clutches of a subterranean society and join Eastward's unlikely duo on an exciting adventure to the land above. You discover beautiful yet bizarre settlements and make new friends as you travel across the world by rail. So that right there is kind of giving me a vibe of a little bit of Gurren Lagann, where you start off with your two characters making friends along the way, and even though they don't have a rail in that one, it's still that kind of discovery of the surface world, or maybe a little bit of a Fallout sensation kind of thing, where you have a pair of characters as your central theme here. So you combine John and Sam's skills to solve dangerous puzzles, take down unusual enemies, survive the deadly miasma. Okay, so maybe it is more like Fallout than I thought. Can you uncover the truth behind Sam's mystic powers? Okay, a little bit of Final Fantasy VI going on there, and bring back harmony to Eastward's ravaged lands. So yeah, just reading that, I'm getting a little bit of like Fallout and Final Fantasy VI kind of vibes, which is not a bad thing. Though those games have some incredible themes to them. Discover the wonderfully weird world of Eastward. Jump aboard the cross-country railway which spans the decaying continent, stopping off to explore its bustling towns, curious campsites, and shady forests. So it looks like they are going to provide quite a variety of environments. So even though it sounds like they're going for a future dystopia kind of thing with a decaying world, that there's still a lot of variety to that world. Fend off peculiar monsters and ferocious bosses with your weapon of choice, be it gun, flamethrower, or your trusty old frying pan. I already like that. Switch between controlling John and Sam to solve yeah, environmental puzzles and fight your way through formidable dungeons, separating to unlock hidden paths or sticking together as you traverse a perilous landscape. Get to know a quirky cast of characters with oodles of personality as you immerse yourself in the heartwarming story-driven adventure packed with fun and wacky humor. Now, on the Switch eShop, there is only the one trailer, but they did show at least brief snippets showing what a bunch of the characters look like, and you can tell that just from that little trailer that it does seem to have a lot going on with how they present their characters, that they want to have their characters be a central focus to the charm of the world, which I appreciate. And it definitely seems like that's the kind of thing that maybe Chucklefish is known for. I haven't played a lot of their games, but just judging from the few screenshots and trailers that I've seen of this game alone, and then, of course, the Witchbrook too, it looks like they really lean into that world and character driven charm, which I am very much appreciating as the kind of games that I'm personally looking for in today's day and age. Of course, there are plenty of things with other games that people can enjoy, but I don't know, for me, it just seems like these are a lot of possible things. Just kind of cozy up with everything that's been going on in the world. Sometimes you just need a nice escape, and even though this is more of an action-adventure game, it still offers that kind of character-driven charm where you feel like you're getting to know the narrative behind the world. And then you create deliciously authentic Eastwardian cuisine using mostly fresh organic ingredients from toxic forests, infested mines, and abandoned malls. These delicacies will grant health bonuses, power boosts, and secret boons. Because, of course, a lot of games they have to have their cooking thing. But if they're going to have a cooking mechanic to this game, it makes sense that they go and try and make it unique to the world and not just be analogous to whatever the real world has. Playable in English, French, Japanese, simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese, German, and Spanish. So available in a lot of countries. And on top of that, we are going to take a brief look at this DLC as well. I'm going to pop over that in a minute after I give my initial impression of this. So what we have here... Oops, that was the Chucklefish. So what we have here with these screenshots... Obviously, our title card, we've got our main characters. Sam, I believe, is the one in the middle. This spunky-looking, enthusiastic, young character. And then the older, I think John is the one in the lower left, while the rest of them appear to be some of the other side characters. But these two main characters appear to be the central focus of the game. I'm sure each of them have their own little unique abilities that they have to combine or at least, pair up. I saw in some of the trailer information where it looked like they had to kind of swap off from each other in order to get through different puzzles and different environmental factors. The trailer in here, it was a nice trailer, even though it's only the one trailer, but the 3 trailers on the Steam page. So we're going to be judging this one, but I will have a separate rating for the Steam page from what I've seen. We see our 2 characters going through a city, one following the other, and Sam, the younger one, does look like a strangely happy-go-lucky character, maybe just happy to be out in the sunshine instead of from what appeared in the trailer that they came out of some kind of a big test tube. We do see some gameplay here where it looks like a classic, possibly twin-stick shooter setup where you have to navigate the world and probably have, one control stick for aiming, one control stick for moving so that you can strafe and aim your shots correctly. If this is one of the dungeons, it does look like it feels a little Legend of Zelda-esque, which is, again, these are not bad things. The reason I make these comparisons is because those are largely familiar properties that can really help drive home what to expect from the feel and the style of the game. Looks like you do visit some shrines with some little farmlands going on with the other characters, and just the color of the scene here, you can tell that there's like an evening vibe going on here, and that is extremely welcome, that it's not just a static world for you to go through. It looks like we even have some scenes with a movie set. Whoever these characters are, you can tell there's a movie camera down there, some robots and videotapes or video games going on, but then a very sci-fi looking background where it looks like they are filming something on a movie set. So I'm actually kind of curious to see what this goes through here. Feast your eyes upon New Dam City's finest fish heads. So it looks like, yeah, you do have these kinds of varied cultures going on here with the market. 57 cents. That giant fish is 57 cents. Okay, that actually makes me wonder, like, what is the economy like in the world? Just these little details they're putting in here in what looks like a Japanese street market, but then, they have all these characters, they've got these shops, these stalls, and actual price laid out on some of these. So, I think it's going to be worth seeing. For the Steam page, I'm going to say the Steam page I'm going to rate as a 6. In part because it does only have the one trailer, the Nintendo Switch eShop page. The Steam page I'm bumping up to an 8 because they have 2 additional trailers that seem to show a little bit more of the world. They showcase a little bit more of the music, where the music does kind of seem to set an extra tone and a vibe to the world with whatever dystopian wasteland, a semi-wasteland, because there does seem like there is society and culture that is going on, along with the whole rail situation and whatever your migration is for that. So, like I said, just for the eShop page, I'm going to say a 6 for the Nintendo, but an 8 for the Switch. In addition to the 6 for the Switch, 8 for Steam. In addition to the fact that we're looking at $24.99 for the Switch price, I don't know that I would pay $25 for this, or scrolling down, we have an option of $27.79 for the Switch for this bundle, which includes the Octopia DLC, which we'll get to in a second. But then the Steam page, it is currently on sale for 12.49, 15.55 for the bundle with the Octopia DLC. And I think that's another factor there. The fact that the Steam one is on sale right at least for now until mid-April. So if you are going if it is something that interests you, it's probably more worth it to get on Steam just because of that sale price. Um, I don't know that 25 is something I would put down for this kind of game. That's a little close to half a AAA price tag for what looks like it looks like a great artistic experience. But depending on your time and your budget and how much time you think you would put into it, I would much prefer to lean to like a sub 20 or sub 15 price tag for the game. But with that, we are going to take a quick look at Octopia to see what the DLC is offering. Now, the DLC does have its own trailer, which showcases, and you'll see from the screenshots here, it it has cozy game farming vibes going on. Like this right here looks like the Eastward art assets going onto a Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley type of vibe. You got your crops, you got a crop field in the background, a farmhouse, and a cow with a helicopter on its back. I'd like to know what's with the flying cow situation. And we do see the two characters just sitting off to the side here, and they do show that there is character dialogue between the two of them. They've got their crops, they got their rest house, mailbox, all the things that you expect out of a farming sim game. And after seeing the action adventure or action RPG game of the base, seeing like what is this? A $5 like $5 or $6 DLC for a whole farming sim spin-off, but it is DLC. It's added onto the base game. It's not a separate spin-off entirely. We do see the characters getting around for a whole dinner together. So there's more focus on the cuisine and the culture of the world. Looks like the characters do have their own separate bedrooms. So, a nice little depiction of their homestead. We got other buildings, other environments to go through. Looks like a convenience store out here, which is probably where you go and buy your seeds. We do have a barn situation with. Okay, you ever go and tell somebody, "Hey, yeah, you'll get around to that when pigs fly"? Um, if you've ever said that to someone, don't tell them about this game. Word to the wise. But that's at least the screenshots for the Octopia. We're going to take a look here and read through. Sam and John return in an all-new adventure. In a remote mountainside village, Sam and John start life anew as farmers. So I'm wondering if just that sentence alone makes it feel like this is kind of a post-game situation where after the main storyline, it's like, okay, we've had the adventure, we've gone through and had our hardships, and now we want to settle down and just have a peaceful life, which a lot of times you kind of want your characters to be able to enjoy that after whatever stresses and traumas of harrowing, dangerous adventures that they went through. Work the land, tend livestock, cook heartwarming meals for familiar yet strangely different friends, and you enjoy the good life in peaceful pixel surrounding. So you help Sam and John lead a peaceful new life in the countryside. No miasma, no hardships, just happy times. Oh, parallel universe. Okay. So maybe it's not a post game thing. Maybe it is a spin-off thing. That being the case, the fact that it's a DLC and not its own spin-off game does seem kind of odd. I wonder how they integrate it into the main game if it's a DLC instead of its own spin-off from the IP. You revitalize a neglected farmstead, standard of your farming games like Harvest Moon, Stardew, all those things are like that. Grow crops, rear animals, forage in the wetlands, talk to ghosts, and spend your nights casting your line in the local fishing holes. Construct and upgrade stores and homes to restore Octopia into a thriving community. And as the town begins to flourish, more familiar faces will flock to the area. Some may even stay for good. Okay, that sounds a little Animal Crossing-ish. Use farm fresh ingredients and John's cookbook, create recipes, and whip up delicious culinary delights to share with your neighbors. For new and old players alike, Eastward Octopia is accessible straight from Eastward's start menu, so you can start living the good life straight away. Okay, so it does look like it goes from the menu. Like when you have it feels like when you have one of those bundle things like Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 or the Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Dawn of Souls, where you start up the game and it goes to a menu where it's like, okay, pick 1 or 2, you pick which core game you're actually going to play. It feels like that. But that said, I feel like with this one now, $6 is an incredible price for what feels like its own whole farming game. But the fact that it's a DLC, now obviously with it being a DLC, it makes sense to make it as an add-on for $6 to that base game to make your total price tag roughly $31. Or like I said earlier, the Steam page does have it on sale for $15.55 right now. Currently, at the time of this recording, the time of this upload. So if you're watching this a couple weeks down the line, it may not be on sale anymore. But even then, the fact that it does have that bundled price, that $15 price for your farming sim and your adventure game is an incredible price. But it feels like they very much made a standalone game, and the only reason it's as cheap as it is because it's required that you have the base game in there. So with that, I feel like I would rate this probably still a 6 for the Switch and an 8 for the Steam page for both the individual and as the whole. I'm a little off-put that you can't get just the farming sim game, but that you would have to buy the base adventure game in addition to the farming sim game in order to get, even if you want just the farming experience. But that said, because of the Steam sale, it does give you that option where it's like that's basically similar to a Stardew Valley price tag, where even if you're not too interested in the core game, you can at least try that out and still have a pretty fair price for what feels like, or what is at least advertised as looking at a complete thing here. Now, the aesthetic for it, like I said, this Chucklefish aesthetic with the pixel graphics and the characters and the world art, it really looks like they put a lot into like all the crops. Each crop looks different and unique and vibrant in its own right. The settings that they show you in the screenshots with the wetlands here, the city especially with the convenience store, it looks like it fits into its world and its setting, where things are kind of like put together from the dystopian wasteland that you would have expected here. Now, I am on the fence about buying this for myself because, of course, like I say, time and budget is going to vary for everybody, whether you think you can personally justify the price. The Switch eShop page, where the core game, core game $25, DLC $6, or almost $28 together, that for me, that feels like too much. Maybe somebody else is looking at this and saying like, oh, I would easily put 100, 200, 500 hours into this, just kind of enjoying that vibe and aesthetic. Whether or not it has as much content to take in as Stardew Valley remains to be seen for the individual person. That is up to a person's taste. We do see 2 gig size, yeah. But there is a whole lot to go off of here. If I do get this, I would be getting it on Steam for that sale price, where it looks like it's about half or 44% off currently. But like I said, I'm on the fence about that. But I am giving a higher score to the Steam page. And not only for the price, they do showcase a little bit more of the game's the look and sound in the Steam page. I do wish that the Switch eShop page would incorporate the other two trailers. Those trailers do a better job of at least showing you what you're getting into. They show you a bit more of the motion of the world, whereas the one trailer on the Switch, which is also on Steam, shows very short snippets of what you're getting into. And with that, I would just like to go ahead and say a quick thank you and shout out to everybody who has watched this far. If there's other Chucklefish games that any of you would like to see me cover, let me know. I do have I put them on a list because I want to go through a bunch of them. The visual aesthetic of them, at the very least, is beautifully done, like beautifully done pixel art that looks like, in another 10 or 20 years is going to have aged incredibly well, because a lot of times these pixel graphics, when you're not trying to cram as much resolution into the game as possible, it lets the art kind of stand out in its own distinct way, and I really like that visual aesthetic of the pixel graphics. Some of the games that I've been trying out that have more of that 3D aesthetic, they just feel like they're trying to do too much. Sometimes even when they go for that cartoony vibe that does age better as you go into more and more modernization in the gaming industry. But again, that is also still personal taste. Anybody out there who disagrees, you're free to love the games you like. Uh, at the very least, this does look like an experience. Again, if this seems like too much of a price tag, check out the Steam page or drop it on your wish list and keep an eye, wait for sales and see what happens. Because even though I would purchase it on Steam based on its current pricing options, I would much rather it go on sale on the Switch so that I can get it in that portable handheld mode to just kind of enjoy in my own time at my leisure, no matter where I happen to be sitting, so I don't have to be tethered to my office in order to play it.